Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Mr. J. This is W.A.D. MTG. Back with Miriam setting a Worm 2.0, double dragons. I made some changes to the deck because there's some things that really didn't make sense to me. So we'll go through that real quick. I took out Ugin the Spirit Dragon because it was one of the only interaction pieces in the deck, and I was only really using it to wipe the board. So I replaced that with Cyclonic Rift. So it's one-sided. I don't wipe all my own stuff and all my own non-land permanents. Next, I took out Neheb, and I replaced Neheb with, where'd it go? Rishkar's Expertise. Now, I did that for a specific reason, because Neheb was there to help me trigger Aggravated Assault. So I can get infinite combat, swing in with the dragons, add the mana, use the mana for the aggravated assault. So I actually replaced the Cavern Horde Dragon as well because it lowered my mana curve. And I was having some play issues, some sequencing issues and misplay issues with the Cavern Horde Dragon. So I just went ahead and replaced it with the Ancient Copper and splurged the extra amount to get the Ancient Copper. So now that I have the Ancient Copper with Old Gnawbone, I can create the mana anyways. And with, what's his name here? With Klauth, I can create a bunch of mana to cast spells. But I can't use the Klauth mana on Aggravated Assault. But I can use the mana from Old Gnawbone, generated the treasures, and the Ancient Copper Dragon. So I think that ironed it out nicely, and I'm going to go ahead and play test it again so you guys can see how it goes. Hopefully I won't miss that many triggers, and I can try to sequence it correctly so you guys can fully understand how powerful the deck is. So it also increased the value of the deck. The deck was at around $600. Now it's around $727, and I haven't replaced all the cards in the list with the actual version of the card. So when I get the deck all the way fully put together, I will replace that in the mana box, and it probably will make it go up a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and test it, do a few test hands and see how it goes. That's a keepable hand. I got a lot of ramp. I got a tutor, a dragon tutor, and a tribute to help me draw. So we're going to go ahead and keep that. We're going to draw for turn. And I guess the first things first, we got a bunch of mana here. So first things first, I think we're going to Wooded Foothills. I don't have a turn one play. So we're going to sack the Wooded Foothills and search for a Triome. Put that into the battlefield. It comes in tapped, and that's my turn one. Turn two, another land. Wow. Oh, I don't think I shuffled. Let's go ahead and put that back. Shuffle. Turn two. That's better. All right. So, Spire Garden comes in. I have two or more opponents. So it's going to come in untapped. And then we're just going to go ahead and play the Elvish Mystic. That's going to be it for the turn two. So we'll untap, do turn three. Another freaking land, which is crazy. The Triome is all my land types, so that's going to come in untapped. And now I've got 4 mana. I think the best thing probably to do would be to either tribute or to cultivate. So if I cultivate, I'll get a land in play. I'll be able to play another land next turn. 5 and 6, that'll get Miriam on the field turn 4. And if I tribute, that won't. It won't have turn 4. I won't have anything. So the best thing to do here is to cultivate. We'll search again. We'll do an island, or a mountain, and a forest. We'll put the mountain in play tapped and the forest in our hand. Then we'll shuffle, and we'll untap. This is going to be turn 4, and we draw. Another land, but it's a breeding pool, so we can play that. It comes in untapped. We'll shock that in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for Miriam. Miriam turn 4 is what the deck's trying to do. I'm trying to ramp, get Miriam turn 4, so following turns I can just drop Crazy Dragons. Draw for turn 5, another land. So this is where what we're going to do is we're going to be able to tribute, and we're going to Sarkhan's Triumph. So the land we'll put in play, I guess probably the Rejuvenating Springs. Comes in tapped, it gives us more colors. So green, green, and green for tribute to the World Tree. And then we'll tap the rest of the mana for the Sarkhan's Triumph. Search the deck for a dragon because I got a bunch of land. And the best dragon, I don't know what the best dragon is probably to play on the following turn. If I played Ancient Copper, it doesn't have haste. So I don't know if that's the best turn. I think Clouth is probably the best because it has haste. But that would, really depend on what kind of dragon or whatever I draw on the next turn. Hopefully I can draw a dragon. So I think that's the maximum turbo play. I play a Clouth on turn 6, and then be able to, if I draw into a dragon, use that mana to then play that dragon. So we'll do that. Now I don't have any dragon in my hand, so arguably Terror of the Peaks is probably better, but we're going to try it this way. Send the Clouth to the hand. And if I shuffle while I still have that up, I can see what comes up next, so I won't do that. So we'll shuffle. We'll just double check real quick how Tribute to the World Tree reads. Whenever a creature enters, draw a card if its power is 3 or greater. So that's going to be good for us still, no matter who we picked. And we'll draw for turn 6. It's a Dragon Master Outcast, and that's fine because we still got 6 mana plus the Elvish Mystic, and we can play a mana this turn. Mountain or an island. Do not have a mountain. So let's just play the Haven of the Spirit Dragon because I can tap it to add a mana of any color to cast to spend on dragons. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 7. And we'll play the Clouth. With the extra red mana, we'll tap that and play the Outcast. The Clouth is going to trigger the Tribute to the World Tree, so that's going to draw a card. And then Miriam's going to trigger, and that's going to double the Clouth. And I'm going to draw another card. And then the Dragon Master Outcast, when it enters, it's not a 3 or greater, so it gets, 2 or 3 +1/+1 counters? 2 +1/+1 counters. So the Outcast is a 3/3, and there's 2 Clouths. So Clouth has haste, so we'll go ahead and do that and attack with Clouth. And then we'll also attack with the Miriam Sentinel Worm. And that's going to add 14 mana to my mana pool that I can spend on casting spells that doesn't go away Steps and Phases end. So as I move to my main phase 2, I'll have 14 mana, which is more than enough to play what I got in my hand. It's just another mana dork here, a Sylvan Caryatid that has Defender and Hexproof, and then I can tap for any color I need. And this Sarkhan right here, Unbroken. So we'll be able to activate the Sarkhan Unbroken. Draw a card, add 1 mana to your mana pool. He's at 5 loyalty. And I spent 7 mana out of 14 mana. So I still have 7 mana left. Draw a card. And I can use that. I can use the Sky Shroud's Claim, which I'll still have 3 mana left. But I can't play anything. But I'll get lands into the battlefield untapped. So we'll grab another mountain and another forest just to thin the deck out. And that's a pretty powerful turn 6. Because then, on my next turn, I can just add a bunch more mana. I've got a ridiculous amount of mana already. Swing in for more mana, so no matter what I draw, I can drop whatever. And I can possibly protect the Sarkhan. And when I untap, I'll create a 5/5 red dragon. And it's going to come in and trigger tribute to the world tree. Then I'll draw for turn, and I keep drawing more and more and more mana. But I can still Goldspan Dragon, duplicate the Goldspan Dragon, draw a couple more cards, attack, create a bunch more mana, and play whatever else. So we Goldspan Dragon, draw a card, another mana. We can play a mana for turn. I can reveal, I play that. I have a forest in my hand, so it comes in on tap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 mana, which is a ridiculous amount of mana. I played the Goldspan. And then that's going to trigger tribute. And that's going to create a token with Miriam. That's going to trigger tribute. And I still have a bunch more mana. I can play out the rest of my stuff. Say we tapped him, so we got that. And then as you can see, it just is going to go out of control from here, because then I can attack. Add a bunch of mana. I can Sarkhan, draw a card. Yep. And then I can attack, and then I end up playing the Dragon Queen. So that's ridiculous powerful. I'll end up drawing again, drawing off the Temur Ascendancy, drawing again off of the Tribute when it makes the copy of the Lathless, and I have a buttload of mana that I can't do anything with. But still ridiculously powerful through turn 5, 6, and 7. It was exactly what I want this deck to do. So we'll go ahead and give it another shot. That's a great hand. We'll keep that. So I think the way to go here is to probably play the Rejuvenating Springs, and then to tap that for the Soul Ring. And that's it for turn 1. And turn 2 comes in. Don't control an island or a mountain, so I won't be able to play that untapped. I will be able to go like this though. Let's go ahead and power out the Urza's Incubator, naming dragons. Dragons cost 2 less, and we'll just play the Sulphur Falls that'll come in tapped. So that'll be turn 2. Turn 3. Didn't get another land, but I can Fabled Passage, and I can Dragonlord Servant. So dragons are 3 less. And then what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and sack the Fabled Passage. Just search for a mountain. And what do I got in hand? Make that a forest. It'll come in tapped, and we'll remember to shuffle the deck. Now we got turn 4. Still didn't get a land, but dragons cost 3 less. So that means my 6-drop dragon is only going to cost 3. But it's going to cost 1 of each color. Bring in Miriam. It's kind of what I want, but without having a lot of mana, it's going to put me in a position where I'm just playing Aestheticism on my next turn. Unless I can draw a land, then I'll play Aestheticism and Birds of Paradise, or Parallel Lives in Birds of Paradise. So that's probably the better play, just in case I get a dragon. 1, 2, 3. We'll play the Parallel Lives and the Birds of Paradise. Not terrible for turn 5. Not particularly great because I didn't draw any more lands. I missed multiple land drops because I missed a land drop when the Miriam came out, and then I just drew again and missed a land drop for this turn. So I'm kind of in trouble unless I draw some dragons. But if I do draw a dragon, I'm in good shape. So we got a land. I think I could power out the aestheticism just to protect my board. I think we're going to probably try and see what we can do. So we got a blue and a green. Oh, we don't want that. We want that as the blue. So we can play the scalar. When that comes in, it's going to end up creating 2 tokens because of Miriam. So there'll be 3 of these guys, and they're just 1/4s, and I can cast dragons from the top of my library. I can look at the top of my library anytime. So it's a land. And then we can 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to put the aestheticism in play to protect my board. We know we're getting a land next. So we can play the land. It will come in untapped at this point. We can pay a couple red for the Dragon Servant. And we had enough 6 mana to activate the Dragon Servant. So formidable, and I can make a 4/4. Not the best, but we got what we needed. We got a board presence. We're tripling dragons. We're kind of in business here. We got mana, even though we missed land drops. We have the Soul Ring. We got the stuff that reduces the dragon cost. So all we really need is a dragon, and we're in business. But we're top decking with no card draw. There's the dragon. That's exactly what we wanted. We're going to stop it after that because we'll play a Terror of the Peaks. The Terror of Peaks is going to enter. That's going to trigger the Miriam Sentinel Worm, which is going to trigger the Parallel Lives. And the first one enters, and it creates 2 more, and the other 2 will come in at the same time. So when both the other Terror of the Peaks triggers enter, the first terror that hit the field that triggered the Miriam is going to see both of them and throw 10 damage around, 2 instances of 5. And then each other token is going to see each other and throw around 5 more damage twice. So that's like ridiculous at this point. You can swing with the Miriam, you can swing with the dragon, you can play dragons from the top of your deck, and there's an Astral Dragon there. So that's fantastic. I won't have the mana to play the Astral Dragon, but on my next turn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dragons are 3 less. I will be able to play the Astral Dragon, and it's ridiculous from there. So we'll try and just go through that loop because it's stupid and see how that goes. Draw for turn. I can play dragons off the top. Doesn't matter. We're going to tap out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dragons are 3 less. So it only costs 5. Play it. The original one hits. It's going to give me 3 terror triggers. It's also going to give the Miriam trigger. So to resolve that, we're going to do the Miriam trigger first. The Astral Dragon enters, and it also triggers. But we're going to order it so where the Miriam triggers first. We have 3 terror triggers already. So then it's going to make a copy of the Astral Dragon. The copy of the Astral Dragon comes in. This is ridiculous. So the copy comes in, and the copy is going to make copies, 3/3 dragons, that are copies of non-creature permanent. So we're going to copy the Parallel Lives. So there's going to be 3 Parallel Lives. And those other 2 Parallel Lives are 3/3 dragons. So Terror of the Peaks sees those as well. So that becomes 3 more Terror of the Peaks triggers when the copy of the Astral Dragon comes in. And then 2 times 3, 6 more. So that's 3, 6, 12 triggers so far for the Terror of the Peaks for each one. And then the original Astral Dragon is ability is going to trigger. Oh wow. Yeah, see, I already messed up because it's even more than that. Because the copy of the Astral Dragon comes in and there was already a Parallel Lives in. So it's not just 1 copy, it's 2 copies of the Astral Dragon. So when the first copy of the Astral Dragon comes in, because Parallel Lives makes 2 copies and Miriam makes 1. So Miriam makes a copy, it turns it into 2 more copies. So I'll have 3 copies of Astral Dragon. The first token copy is going to trigger the Terror. This is going to game over because the Terror of the Peaks is going to trigger a ridiculous amount. And then when the first copy of the Astro Dragon comes in, and it's going to make token copies of the permanent and their 3/3s, it's going to then target Parallel Lives. And it doesn't just make 2, it'll make 4 because the first Parallel Lives is out. So there'll actually be 5 total Parallel Lives. And then it's got 4 more Terror of the Peaks triggers for the 3/3 dragons. Then the other token copy that's on the stack is going to resolve. And it tries to create 2 token copies, but 2 turns to 4, 4 turns to 8, 8 turns to 16, 16 turns to 32, 32 turns into 64. So it's going to target, you know, probably Parallel Lives, right? And it's just going to create a ridiculous amount of nonsense. So there'll be 69 Parallel Lives on the field. 68 of them will be 3/3 dragons. That'll all trigger Terror of the Peaks. And everybody should be dead by now because of all the Terror of the Peaks triggers. There's 69 total Parallel Lives. That's so fucking ridiculous. That's so ridiculous. So it's 68 times 3, and that's enough to kill the table, right? 180 plus damage. Yes, that's enough to kill the table. Before the rest of the triggers are going to resolve, Terror of the Peaks will kill the table. But if the original Astro Dragon trigger is then on the stack, the original Astro Dragon will attempt to make 2 more copies of something, in which case I would target Soul Ring, but then it's going to double 69 times, and I think be like millions of Soul Rings that are going to hit the field at once. So that's just going to create, you know, basically infinite mana at that point. Because let's just take it to 10 iterations and see where we're at. 2 turns to 4, 4 turns to 8, 8 turns to 16, 16 to 32, 32 to 64, 64 to 128, 128 to 256, 256 to 512, 512 to 1,000. 1,024, 1,024 to 2,048. So there'll be 2,048 Soul Rings on just 10 iterations of Parallel Lives, doubling the Astro Dragon triggers. And that's going to trigger Terror of the Peaks all those times as well. So that's just a straight game victory. Perfect Magic Christmas Land, turn 7. So we'll give it one more. This will be the 3rd time. The first outing wasn't as strong. And we'll mulligan that because we only got 1 land. And I guess we'll mulligan that because we got no lands. And now we got 3 lands, and you know, we got pretty much everything we want here. No particular draw pieces, but that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have to put something back. You would think it would be the Coreless, so we can play the Tempest turn 2 and then ramp into the Piper. So that's probably what we'll do. We'll keep it. We'll send the Coreless back. We'll draw for turn. The first turn we can't do anything, so we'll play the Frontier Bruvac. It's got all of our land types. So we drew another land, and then turn 2 comes in, and we're gonna draw another land. This is a speed land. So we're going to play that next. And we're going to play the Tempest. And then turn 3 is going to roll around. The Snarl. We're going to play the Snarl, probably. Is it a forest or a mountain or an island? I have a forest island. So we'll play the Snarl because we got a breeding pool in hand. And it's going to come in untapped. And then we'll tap 3. And we're going to play the Harrow. And we're going to sack the Snarl. Search for a mountain and a forest. They come in untapped because there's a Harrow. And I can't do anything for 2 mana. So turn 4. Draw for turn. I think we're going to go ahead and play the Spire Bluff. 2 or fewer. It's a speed land, so it's going to come in tapped, but that's okay because all we really need it for is the Piper. So turn 5, Now this is where things get a little interesting. I think what we're going to want to do here is we could, in theory, play the Miriam by dropping the breeding pool. So we drop the breeding pool, shock ourselves, probably play the Miriam, and then leave ourselves open to Piper the next turn and see if we can get another mana so we can also play the Rishkar's expertise. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we'll Miriam. Alright, so that's not bad at all. So that was turn 5. So turn 6 rolls around. We didn't get a mana, but we did get a Signet. So I think that we'd have to probably do this a little different. We did get a Dragon Tempest trigger that I didn't particularly notice. So I think we're going to want to do this just a little bit different. Yeah, we're going to want to do this just a little bit different. We're going to Signet. Then we're going to Sarkhan, right? And then we're going to use our last green mana to pipe out Dragonlord Atarka. And it comes in, it's going to get a Dragon Tempest trigger, and Sarkhan's going to turn into a dragon. So that's actually 3. It's going to trigger for 3, not just 2. And then we're going to have a Miriam trigger, which is going to double the Atarka. And we probably want to stack the triggers here as well because we got a Dragon Tempest. So we're going to want to stack the triggers. So we got a Dragon Tempest trigger, but we'll order the Miriam trigger. So the Miriam makes the Atarka first. So the copy of the Atarka comes in. Then the original Atarka comes in, and Sarkhan's a copy of the Atarka. So we'll have 2 Dragon Tempest triggers, and we'll trigger it for 4 apiece. And that's turn 5, so that's 8 damage. And he doesn't have haste, but you can swing again with the Miriam. And now we're at a turn 6, and we draw. We got another land, but we don't really need it this particular time because we can Rishkar's expertise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We'll Rishkar's expertise. And the biggest creature on the field is the Dragonlord Atarka. We had multiple triggers. We could have blew up whatever we wanted on the field. But I'm trying to shortcut it just for the sake of the content and try and make the video quick. So we'll draw 8 cards. The greatest power among creatures I control, which is 8. And then I can cast a spell with mana value 5 or less from my hand without paying its mana cost. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what card will we cast without paying its mana cost? Obviously, we're going to cast Old Gnawbone without... Oh, no, we can't. It's 5 or less. So I guess we'll probably pick the Tribute here, right? That's 5 or less. Any spell, 5 or less. So, yep, that's going to be the way to go there. And we'll send the Rishkar's expertise to the graveyard. Now, we do still have our Arcane Signet up. So what we'll do with the Arcane Signet is we're going to tap it to tap the Piper to pipe out the Old Gnawbone. And it comes in, and we've got a Tempest trigger, and we got a Miriam trigger. We'll order the Miriam trigger first, so it makes a token. And then the token comes in, and then it's going to trigger the Tempest twice. So, and the Sarkhan's going to come in as a copy of the Gnawbone, which is amazing, because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dragons. It's going to trigger twice. The World Tree's then going to trigger, and it's going to trigger twice, and I'm going to draw 2 more cards, 1 and 2. And then the Sarkhan is a copy of the Old Gnawbone this turn. So Old Gnawbone is amazing. It reads whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, create that many treasures. And we can swing with both Atarkas. We can swing with Miriam. And Sarkhan is a flying copy, 7/7 copy of Old Gnawbone. So we've got 7, 16. So it's 23, 29. So we've done create 29 treasures. Yeah, you just spawn the tokens. We got a bunch of treasures. We'll just send them to the graveyard. And then we'll go like this and put 29 counters on it. So we got 29 treasures now. We've got a dragon that's untapped. We drew off the dragons. We got all them triggers. We swung a bunch of damage. We created a buttload of treasures. And now we're in main phase 2, and we can use those treasures. So use one for Soul Ring. Use another one for Elvish Mystic. I didn't play a land for turn, so we dropped the command tower. Use the command tower for a bird. We're under 5, but we can do a ridiculous amount of stuff still. We can Oracle Moldiah for 4. So I have 23 treasures. We can 3 visits. 2. Search your deck. We're just gonna, right there's a Triumph right on top. So move that in. It's actually just gonna be tapped, but it doesn't matter. We got a ridiculous amount of mana. We've got a ridiculous a lot of stuff going on, and we still can use 3 more treasures for Sarkhan's Triumph. How many dragons we got? 1, 2, 3, 4. Sarkhan is still a dragon till end of turn. 5, 6 dragons we got. So if that wasn't enough, we'll go ahead and just search for the Scourge of Valkus. And then we'll use 5 more treasures to play the Scourge. The Scourge enters, the Dragon Tempest triggers, the Miriam triggers. We'll order the Miriam first to make a token copy of Scourge of Valkus, and that enters, and they have the same exact ability. So 4 abilities are going to go on the stack now that do damage to target creature or player. This is probably going to be player because it's going to be game over, equal to the amount of dragons I control. So 4 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and Sarkhan's still a dragon, 8. 4 times 8 is another, what, 32? So 32 more damage after swinging out all that damage and creating all that treasures. If it's not game over, you've killed 1 or 2 players, and people are still fighting each other this whole time. So you're probably in the position to kill 2 players and then kill the last player on your next turn. So that's it. That's double dragons. I did my best to go through the triggers and order them properly so it wasn't super confusing. It gets ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous deck. It's going to be one of my favorite Power 8 decks I've ever played. Thanks a lot, guys. I'm Mr. J. This is W.A.D. MTG. I'm out.